Hey everybody, where am I? There I am. Hi. I've got things rearranged so it's above me so you can tell, but you still can't see me. I'm working on it. How is everybody? I hope you had a good weekend. Good. Slide this over here so I can look at it while I'm talking to you. There we go, that's better. I'll share this screen so you can see it. Get everybody's boxes here. See, this is what I'm talking to. I'm talking to you guys. Here you are. No faces. More people. Madison, we missed you Friday. Madison missed our guest speakers Friday in the game programming class. They sat and they talked to these square boxes and they didn't have any trouble with it at all. I posted their interview, if anybody would like to see it. I only posted the URL to the game programming class, but one neat thing, let me find it on my notes. I've got to get more organized notes. I'm sure you guys don't have this problem. They were on a game programming group that had some really highly rated games in the Apple Store, Apple games for mobile devices. And at one point, one of their games was bringing in $160,000 a month, which I thought was a lot. They didn't get that, of course. The company that they were working with got it, but they did pretty good. I think they're doing pretty good shape for, see, one of them just turned 21 and the other one is like 25. So pretty good background. So again, the URL for that is posted to the game programming class. I'm going to shut this thing down so I can just show you my screen. And some dates. Let's start with this. We just have a couple weeks left, really. So I wanted to kind of go over what our plan was going to be. Today, we're going to update our audio CD list application to add maintenance capabilities. Oh, that's okay, Logan. Yes, Madison, it was amazing. I wish you could see him. Thank you. I went all dark mode so that I would try to not be so ghostly in the video. It didn't help. I'm still working on it, but let me know if you can't see things because it's pretty dark here. I can see a lot better though. All right, so we're going to add the ability to add new audio CDs, update existing ones, and delete existing ones. We'll have a quick Quizlet Live competition because they've updated that to allow you to participate individually against each other, which is always fun. Oh, Madison, I was worried about you. Let me know if I can yell at you or something and wake you up. It's hard to keep on a schedule with all of these changes. Everybody's been doing so good at trying to keep track of where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. I was telling one of my friends yesterday that they could probably look at their phone to see what day it is. Not really an excuse. We've got all this stuff. We can keep up. Now on Wednesday, because we have the Unit 3 exam, we will not have a scheduled Zoom session just for Wednesday, just so you can take that exam. So you're welcome to let me know if you need anything or have any questions before then. If you would like to have a Zoom session, let me know, but I'm not going to schedule one for Wednesday. Now, some other questions that came up about that. We will not present projects in class, just too much stress for right now. There is no sort of video or anything due for those. Just turn them in to TFS, turn them into Canvas, and get your Unit 3 exam completed. All right, next week, on Monday, we'll update our audio CD app again to add our menu bar and toolbar that we practiced on last time. And we'll really be looking at the final project. How's everybody doing? Any questions about it? Anything like that. Make sure everybody's off to a good start. On Wednesday, next week, we will have another practice app where we read from and write to a text file. There's a small assignment due for that. We'll make sure that that one gets done. The following week is really our last week of class. So on Monday, 5/4, we'll be updating our audio CD app to read from and write to a text file. Now, in our final project, normally reading from and writing to a text file would be a requirement, but I'm going to eliminate that requirement this semester because we're pushing right up against the edge here. So we will go through it in class. It's content that you are going to need to know, and it's going to be helpful for you in the future, but I'm going to make it an optional part of your hands-on final. Now, I haven't updated the final requirements for that yet, so we won't be looking at those requirements today. Now, on Wednesday, 5/6, on 5/6, we'll have review for our final, any outstanding questions, any leftover pieces that we need to get working in our application will get finished up. That's really our last day that we'll get together with our Zoom meetings. On 5/7, the final, the multiple choice question type final will become available. The window for the final exam for online classes is 5/7 through 5/14. So your multiple choice exam will be available during that time. You can use your study group collaboration notes as resources. No other resources allowed. The final should take on your own some time during that window, that week-long availability window. The hands-on project, the hands-on final, will be due on May 13th. So we're getting really close, and I'll get this presentation posted. We could, of course, have changes, but that's what my plan is right now. All right, so we're in good shape, getting a lot done, I feel like. So I'm going to close this solution out that I had open. And let's make sure everybody's got the one we're going to be working on. In the General 102 chat, it is this audio CD form updated with the list box. That's the one that we're going to start on updating today. I also posted the application that we did last time that was just a sample menu bar and toolbar. So those should both be there. I have a contest going. We'll win you a duck. I don't know for sure when you'll get your duck, but I'll get you a duck. So my contest is, what's a term that we could use to describe a Zoom attendee that's not really there? So they're in a meeting, but they must be in the shower or something, not away AFK or whatever, because they're much further away than away from their keyboard. They're like, sort of like ghosting the class. I don't know. I want a good name for it, a good acronym. So I've got my application here, my audio CD form. I'm going to get it open. If you copied or downloaded the one from Discord, don't forget to unzip it before you try to open it. And you want to unzip it into a new folder, because I've got the solution and the project stuff in there. Okay, where I can see everybody. So our audio CD application, let's take a look. We have our list box where we list all of the different audio CDs that we have in stock. People can click on them. If they click on an audio CD, we show the detailed information about that CD over in this area. We have a message status bar area where we can inform our users of what's going on. Now I'm going to look at our code, F7. And we did some commenting last time, but we still don't have a comment here on this class. This class defines form. We should say event procedures, methods. So we have some instance variables, our current index, and remember we started out with that set is -1, and -1 in a list box means no item is selected. We zoom in a little bit here. And then we also have the CD instance of our audio CD class. Okay, put a little comments there. Form 1, this is our constructor, right? So we could put some code in there if we wanted to, but we decided that our user code belonged better in the Form 1 load event procedure. That's where programmers would expect that code to go. Now in our form load, we allocate an array of audio CDs. We call our database test, our generate method, to fill up that array. And then we have a for loop where we take the data from the array and add it to our list box. So we call our test data generator, and then we loop through to load. Now, for this for loop, it's really nice, it's handy, it's doing its job. Do we need it? Could we do this in all one line of code? Could we maybe say listboxcd.items equals my CDs? Could we take it even further? Could we say listboxcd.items equals database test.generate data? Clear all that down into one line of code? I'm going to leave that to you to experiment with, see what we could do to make that more efficient. Now, after we load up our list box, we call our special method enable disable to disable all of our fields, set their enabled property to false. We have our message set to data loaded, and I gotta get rid of that. That was testing for something. How did I get that in? Now, that's the end of our form load. We've got everything all set up. We're ready to display our form. We have next our event procedure that's wired to our OK button. If somebody clicks our OK button, sorry, I was looking at our participants. There are one that I will not be able to tell who is full attendance. Not to name any names or anything. Okay, so in our OK button, we've got comments here, looks good. Our OK button, we haven't messed with for a while. We might need some changes to it, right? We put this in originally when we created this application, and we said we were going to create a MyCD instance. We were going to load it with the data that was entered on the form. And then we were going to add that item to our list. So we might not need this exactly the same. I bet we can use it though. Now, the next thing that we have is our text box cost text changed event. In this one, we put in as a test to see how often that text changed event was firing. We can get rid of this one, but not right yet. Let's make sure we've got it all cleaned up before we delete it out. So we'll come back to it. Now this one, our selected index changed, is kind of like the heart of our program, isn't it? Because this is the event procedure that runs when somebody clicks an item in our list box. So they click an item, we say, oh, which item did they click? Then we grab the audio CD instance from that row that they clicked on, and we use that to build the display to show all of the data in our text boxes. And then we update our message to say that the item was displayed. So that's an important method for us. Now our show CD method, we do exactly that. We say, hey, for each text box, set it equal to the appropriate data item from our audio CD class. And then we have our enable disable method that enables and disables all of the controls on our form as we so wish, so that we can handle it. Looks good. Going up to the top here, you know. So let's take a look at our form. I'd like to add to our application so that we have a button that somebody can click to add a new audio CD to the list. So let's think about what needs to happen if somebody clicks that button. We want to make sure that their cursor is sitting over here in the audio ID control text box so that they can type that in. We want to make sure that all of these controls are enabled so that they can use them, and then they can click the OK button. And then when they're done, when they click OK, we would like for that to load to our list box. Alrighty, let's add a little button. I'm going to find a button control, and I actually already have the common controls open. And there's the button. And I'm going to set the button kind of up here. It's going to be a smaller button, sort of in emulating the new style of things, but not exactly. Now, I want my button to say plus. So use the plus sign. And I need to fix it. I'm going to worry about my colors here. Let's fix that back color. There, we can see it a little better. So the plus sign is going to be my add. If you need to, you know, size it however you want. Whenever you're working with smaller controls like this, it's sometimes a lot easier to use the location and the size properties. So I can just make it maybe 25. Let's see if that works. Guess I'll make it 30. Not too awkward. Just the way our font is, it doesn't show up in there very well if it's exactly square. Now, besides setting that, I'd like to set the name of our button to button add. Now, this is a really important one you're going to notice as we add more and more buttons on our form. We definitely don't want them left button 1, button 2, button 3. It's be really hard to find. Okay, so we've got our add button. Let's double click it to add some code. And I'll put a comment in. We're going to set up our form. So in this button add click event, we are not going to be taking data from the text boxes to add it into our list yet. What we're going to be doing at this point is preparing everything to do that. So we want to enable all of those data elements on our form. So we'll call our enable disable function. This time we want to press true. We want to turn them all on, right? Now, another thing that I'd like to do is make sure that our current index is set to -1, because we don't want to accidentally say that we're on a certain element in our list box. We're going to be adding a new one, so we're going to be kind of messing with that. So let's make sure that we can tell we're in an add mode. So say no item is selected. Enable on fields. And then I would like to move the cursor into that album ID text box so that it's ready for our user to type. So I'm going to use the focus method. And the focus method will basically make that be the control that's in focus, where our cursor is sitting there ready to enter data. Okay, so let's run and see if that kind of sets things up the way we want. My button is down on top of my list box. I'll fix that. I'm going to click plus. All right, so my cursor is sitting here. My stuff looks all good. I'm ready to enter some things and click OK. Looks like my OK button isn't ready though, is it? Let's fix it. Well, how can we tell in our OK button? We had that current index. Could we check to see if it's -1? If it's -1, then we probably are in an add mode. And the thing is, we want to do all this stuff because that's what we did to add a CD when we first started. So I'm going to delete this closing curly brace, and I'm going to come down, and I want to put that right here and let Visual Studio do the indenting for me. So now we have, if the current index is -1, which it should be if we clicked our add button, we're going to create an audio CD. We're going to update it with all of the information that the user typed in to our text boxes, figure out our genre, and then we're going to add that to our list. Now, one thing that I notice is when we created this CD instance, we called it My CD. But in our class here, our class level variable that's an instance of the audio CD is called the CD. So let's change that. I'm going to go back down to my OK button, and I'm going to select this stuff. So do this with me. And I want to replace every occurrence of my CD with the CD. So I can do Control F and bring up the find, or I can say I want to do a quick replace, which is Control 8. And I want to replace every occurrence of my CD with the CD. Is it the CD? The CD. And I only want to do that within this selection area, the code that I have selected here. So I could click replace next and go through them all, or I can just replace all and replace them all. Okay. So make sure you know where that tool is and how to use it, because right now we're just looking at items that are on the screen. So I know a lot of students are just going through and click, 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 just changing them all, right? Because there's not that many, and I can just change them all while she's talking because I don't have to listen. But wait, your employer, when you're working, will pay a goodly amount for these tools. And these tools are designed to make you more efficient so that you can get more work done in a certain amount of time. So it's important to utilize the tools. I could have variable names in multiple classes that were affected, and I'd still be able to use the same find and replace dialog box, because I could say, do it for this whole solution. And I would be able to make a massive update. All right, we got our little CD changed. That's what we want. So we'll make sure we got it good, the CD. So it looks pretty good now. Now we're saying if it was -1, then we want a new CD, and at the end we're going to add it to our list. Let's try it. Okay, so I'm going to click add. My cursor's sitting over there. Make sure to type a number in your cost, because we do calculations there and we don't have any edit checking. And I'm going to click OK. Oh, and look, it added it. Awesome. I'm going to close out and try that again, because I think there's a problem. Let's try it. Run. Now this time, I'm going to click on some, and now I'm going to click add. Oh, look, there's leftover junk there. We don't want to have that leftover junk. When somebody clicks add, we need to make sure that all of our form fields are cleared. So not only are they enabled, they need to be cleared. So let's add a method to do that. We'll probably need it someplace else, right? I'm going to go down to the very bottom where our enable disable method is, and I'm going to add this new one right after that one, because they're going to be really similar. So this method, whoops, those comments until I've got the method in. This is going to be clear form, and we're going to take our text box audio ID and call the clear method, and our album, and our cost. And we need our numeric up down. Now, do you see any sort of clear for a numeric up down? No. Should it be like a reset? We could set it to 0, but it'll get really mad at us, because remember, it didn't like being 0, because we said the minimum value on it was 1. So we could set it to 1, but we do have this option to reset the text. Let's try it. That should work. Sure. And then we need to clear all of our radio buttons. We have all of them up here. Classical. For our radio buttons, there isn't really like a clear or reset. We're just going to set our click event to checked. That's the right word. You ever feel that way? Sometimes it's too many languages. All right, then hip hop checked equals false. and rock. I think that should do it. Let's put a comment in. We'll just say it'll clear the form fields because that's what it does. So it was in our OK button, right? No, not right. When someone clicks our Add button, when they click our Add button, we want to clear out all of these fields. So let's find our Add button. I'm finding it. Dang, where is it? Way down at the bottom. Now I can make it a little bit easier to find these things. I could collapse stuff down using the outlining, or I could use that class diagram. Remember, I'm going to add my class diagram. I didn't save it when I added it many, many times ago. My class diagram is mad at me. Can I say select all? No. Why does my call? Oh. Just hates these form classes, doesn't it? I'm just going to close it. I'm not going to fight with it. It shouldn't be such a pain. So what I was thinking was, if we opened our class diagram, then we would just be able to click on a method name, and it would take us to it in our code. But since the class diagram does not want to work properly, I'm just going to get rid of it because we don't have time for this. I know some of you guys have gotten it to work. How to access form1.cs design. Just double click on form 1 over here in your solution explorer. Tomas, see if that will work. Does that do it? So you want to find your solution explorer and then double click on your form. That work? You don't have Solution Explorer? Here, share your screen. Let me stop just a sec. Okay, share with us so we can see what you have. Let me find the chat. Okay. Up here, Tomas, do you see this area up here beside the home? Do that drop down up here. This one way up here in your toolbar. Yeah, that one. Yep. Click it and go down to the other one. Yeah. Now you got it. So, yay! Now he can add his button. Now, while we're looking at him do that in French, this tool up here changes your view from solution to folders. And if you're looking at that folders view, you can't run, you can't see your form, so it can really cause you some trouble. Okay, so get your add button, and we just put a plus sign on it, whatever you want to put on it. And we just called it button add. It should be at the very top. And then double click on it. And let me show you the code. Here's our code, just those 3 lines. And then we're going to add some more. So no problem. You can just yell anytime you get out of sync like that, because I know it's super hard to get caught up, and it's usually helpful for everybody to see. So anytime anybody has something like that happen, you know, everybody else is going to benefit from seeing. So we've got this great message text box. We could actually use this to say text box message text equal. We could say enter data for audio CD and click OK. We could be super helpful with our messages, couldn't we? What else did we need to do though? We needed to clear out those form fields. So far we have a way to clear out our form. We just put that in. We need to call it. So let's call it after we enable and disable our form fields. So we're setting our index to -1. There is no item selected. We're enabling all of our text boxes. We're clearing them. We're putting the cursor in that text box with the audio ID, and then we're going to give them this really helpful message. Let's try it. Oh, one other thing I want to do though. Let's go back to our OK button. Way up here. In our OK button, after we add this to our list box, it would be nice to change that message, wouldn't it? Let's change our text box message to say CD add. Let's run it. Okay, so last time our problem was that if we clicked on a CD, we'd see the data over here, but then if we clicked our add button, this information was just hanging there incorrectly. So now if we click our add button, should clear all that out. Our cursor is sitting here in our audio ID where we want it. We have a nice message. All right, let's enter it. Got like 5 tracks. And I'm just going to click OK. And this should show up down at the bottom. Oh, there it is. Audio CD added. Looks like it's all my data. Everything looks good. Everybody's working okay? See some thumbs up, some yeses. Oh, I see a few. Good, good. Not very many. Are the rest of you having trouble? Do you need to show us your screen? Make that the new punishment. You have to show us your screen. Like the bad kid. Oh, okay, let's see it. Let me let you share. Okay, show us what you got. Okay, let's get rid of that line of code there on 48. We don't need it at all. I don't know why it's there. We were looking at something else, obviously, and did not delete it like we should have. Delete it, delete it, delete it. Get rid of it. Okay, now try to run. Anybody else has that left over, get rid of it. We were trying something and left us in a bad spot.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I have it.
That's all right. I just saw it and deleted it, and I should have made a bigger deal out of it. Is it going to run?
Yeah. That's it.
Is it okay? Okay, cool. Yay!
Yeah.
Thanks, Mohammed. I'm sure that other people have that still left in there too. So it's always so helpful. Okay. Oh, am I messing with my windows and stuff over the weekend? They're now numbered properly. You know, I got 1, 2, 3 instead of 3, 2, 7 or whatever it was. So I'm not sure which one to share. I'll get used to it. Anybody else got any weirdo things for us to look at? All those weird problems. You're welcome. All right, so we got that perfect. It says audio CD added. One thing though, now that I'm looking at it, we have our new CD down here in our list, but we still have all of the stuff here from it from earlier. Are our fields protected? Oh, they're not. Look, we can still change things. I don't think that's the way we want it, is it? If we click OK, is it going to crash? It added a new one. So I don't think that's a very reliable thing. So what should happen is when we click OK on our ad, let's go ahead and disable all of our data fields again and clear them out, because we're going to be sitting on this new entry that we added. Let's try that. So we're going to display this message audio CD added, but we really need to do our other maintenance things. So where's my mouse? There we go. We want to do our clear form to clear out all that stuff, all the data they entered. Oh, okay, Madison, just a second, we'll look at it. Oh, well, you're good. We don't want it to. It should not. So we're going to do a clear form, and then we're going to do our enable disable. Madison, do make sure that you are doing the enable disable thing. And we want to disable everything. So we're going to pass in false. Yep, it's all right. Let's run it. Okay, I'm going to click one. Looks good. Click plus. I'm ready now. It's my new one. So we're kind of still set. We've got our new one entered. We can't do anything over here to cause any trouble. So it's good. I think we're good. How's everybody doing? Can you add? Yay! Madison's good. All right, so now we're ready to update. We can add new audio CDs to our list. That's just what we wanted. Think about this. Our audio CD class behind the scenes could be connected to a database, and this application is really full-fledged. You know, it's working. If you were able to change that behind the scenes to a database table, which wouldn't be that big of a deal because you've already got the class here associated with it, then it's a full-fledged application. So that's what we want to create. All right, let's go back to our form. I don't know, I've got some weird stuff going there now for me trying to get that diagram to work. Oh, Visual Studio to the rescue. So on my form, I would like to add another button that's going to be my update. So I'm going to copy this one, Control C, and I'm going to paste it, Control V, and I'm going to try to kind of move it side by side. And I want to make this be update. So let's make it an equal sign. In our toolbar, we can use some fancy icons, but for this, we have to be character-based at the moment. Now let's make it button update as our button name. Oh, Tomaso, we're probably fighting. Let me show it to you with that stuff. So our clear form is this one. Just double check your name, where we just did the clear method on our text boxes. Set all our radio buttons, checked properties to false, and reset text on our numeric up down. That works okay. I would send it to you, but you can probably type it just as fast as we can send it to you in the chat. You guys are so speedy. See it? I swear somewhere in that chat I saw a code snippet and I can't find it again. I don't know if I just dreamed it because I was so needing it. All right, so let's get back to it. In our form, we created our update button. So let's double click and give it some code. Now again, we're not going to actually do the update. We're preparing to do the update. So we're going to say, ready to go here. So when we were doing our add, we said set the current index to -1. Well, we want to make sure in here that it's not equal -1, right? Because if it's equal to -1, there isn't anything selected and we can't do anything to it. So as long as our current index is not equal to -1, we are ready to update this item. We do want to enable all of our form fields so that they can type new data. We don't want to clear our form because there's already data there. We do want to set our focus to our text box audio ID. It's just the first one on our form, so it's a good place for our focus. And then we can add a new message. So update your data, click OK. I think that's all we need to do. Let's try it. I'm going to run, and I'm going to click on one and click our update button. And now my cursor is sitting over here. I'm ready to change, and it says update data for audio CD and click OK. All righty, so let's make that happen. Right now it won't happen, right? Because we don't have the code in our OK button. Let's add it. So our add button is just getting the environment ready to add. Our update button is just getting our environment ready to update. The event procedure that's actually making it all happen is our OK button. So we've already said in our OK button that if the index is -1, we're doing an add. Now, if it's not -1, we must be doing an update. So that'll be easy enough to handle. But it's getting kind of messy around in here. Look at this OK button. It's getting to be a really long method. We don't like methods that are that long. And now I'm getting ready to split it because I'm going to add an else clause and do a whole bunch of stuff, like a lot of these same things, for an update. So I think I better clean this up a little bit. What I'm going to do is copy all of this code within my if statement body. Let me get up there so you can see it. Right there to my running of the enable disable. I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to paste it into a new method. Private void add CD. And then paste. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see that. So our new add CD method is going to do all of these things for an add. It's going to set up the instance. It's going to read all the data from the text boxes, figure out which genre is clicked, and then it's going to add that item to our list, update the message, clear out the form, and disable everything, ready to start again. So let's make our OK button run this new method. If our current index is -1, we want to do an add CD. And I'm going to get rid of this old commented out code because it's causing confusion. So now Uh-oh, what'd you do to it, Madison? Do you want to show?
Pasting the code into like the new add CD method, it
Mhm.
aired a lot of lines out.
So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z enough to put it back to the way it was, and then try again. You might want to add that method first before you cut that code,
All right.
or you could just drag and drop it down there. I usually cut and paste just because it's easier for people to see, but dragging and dropping is fine. Yeah, and Zach mentions make sure you have the braces, the open and close curly braces in place before you paste.
Yeah, I had the braces. I wrote out the method header and then added the braces and pasted it between that, but it aired a lot of things out.
It's been crazy.
I think I might have put it in the wrong place in the braces though, so I'm gonna try again.
Just always remember Control Z. So if it gets really messed up, just Control Z, Control Z, Control Z as many times as you need to till it's back to okay. And then you can progress. Do you want us to watch you? Or you got it?
Looks fine now. It looks good now.
Okay, great. So our little add CD method should take care of everything for our add. Now I want to put in an else clause. I can get there. So if the current index is not -1, we have one selected. So let's do a new method we're going to call update CD. And I have a feeling it's going to be a lot like our add CD method. So let's see what we can do to share some code. So in our update CD, the first thing we're going to need to do is get the data from the form text boxes and put it into our class instance. So should I duplicate this code? Should I copy it and paste it into here? Oh no, I should not, right? I should create another method. So I'm going to put this after the add, and you can kind of go through later and think about how you would want to organize these methods. It's a little rougher when we're doing things on the fly, but what do we want to call this one? We're going to be taking all of our form data and putting it into our CD. So let's call it form to CD. I want all of this from line 77 to the end of my genre stuff. And that's the code that I want in this form to CD. So I'll drag it down here. And then in my add, I'm going to run that method. Make sense? We're just saying, yeah, getting a lot of code there. I'm going to need to duplicate that code there. Better not duplicate that code. So I'll just go ahead and create a new method and call it. Then everything's going to be simpler in the end. Okay. So in our update CD, we're going to call that same method. Copy everything from the form to our CD. In our add, we said after that to add that to our list. Well, in this example, we're updating. We don't want to add it, but we do want to update. So looking at our list box, the items in our list box are an array. We're going to use our current index variable as a pointer into that array to what our location is. And we're going to set that equal to our CD as it's been updated. We can update our message then. Your CD updated. We'll go ahead. Should we clear our form? We don't really need to, right? Because it's the same CD, so we can just leave it sitting there. But we do need to disable all of our fields because the way our application is working, we want to make sure that everything is disabled at this point. Pretty similar, right? So you can see how we're being able to use the same code over and over. We just have to keep all of our pieces clear. What does each thing do? Let's put some comments in to clarify that. Our form to CD method copies our form field data to our CD. Our add CD prepares the form for an add. And then our update prepares the form for an update function. So we have a lot of little methods that can be kind of hard to keep track of. We want to make sure we remember what everything's associated with. And I think I was trying to display that class diagram on the form, somehow getting it all messed up. So I wasn't looking at code or something. I was able to do it earlier without any problem. Hate it when it's that way. But a lot of times we need something to keep track of what all of these different methods are, and a class diagram is a very good way, even if we have to do it by hand. All right, so now we have our update CD all coded. If somebody clicks OK, if the current index is -1, we're going to run our method to add a CD. Otherwise, we're going to run our new methods to update the CD. So let's try it. If I don't click on one, she'll just kind of ignore me, right? Because we didn't really say what to do if the current index wasn't -1. But then if I click on an item and do our update, I see I'm sitting here ready to update. I'll make a few changes. Click OK. Kaboom! What happened? Did yours crash too? Everybody's crashed? What's it say? It says that I'm looking here at your list box using your current index, and that thing is out of range. I can't find anything based on this current index in that list. Yours is just updated, you got it all working. Well, watch us then. So it's saying it's just not working right. I can view details, and I can expand things. Kind of the same things that I'm seeing down here in the locals area. So it seems kind of like I'm in this selected index changed method, and I shouldn't be because we didn't click on our list. So why are we running this index changed method? Is it from updating one of the entries in that list? Let's turn on the debugger and see if we can tell. I'm going to stop running. And we know our problem is in here in our selected index changed method. That's where our crash occurred. So I'm going to set a breakpoint, the first line of that method. Remember, I can set a breakpoint by coming over to this gray area. Unpin that so we have more room. Come over to this gray bar and click to set a breakpoint, or I can right click to go to breakpoint, insert breakpoint. I actually want it one line above. So I'm going to set it on that first line of this method. Now I'm going to run. And I'm going to have to do that whole thing maybe until I can get to there. Let's see. I'll pick album 3. Oh, there I am. I am running my selected index changed event right now because I clicked on an item in the list. So which item did I click on? Well, it hasn't decided yet. Right now my current index is set to -1. So I'll run that line of code so that I can see which line I clicked. Come on. Nope, I'm clicking the wrong thing. Come on, there we go. Now I should have a current index value. It is 3. That makes sense. And we're getting now the audio CD out of that list. Going to set it into our the CD instance. We'll let that run. As we go through, we should see things running. We're going to go execute our show CD method, which is going to move our CD data fields out to the text box. We'll run our getters, get that album, get that cost, get that number of tracks, get that genre, keep checking our genre. Notice how we're running the getter repeatedly to get that information. Finished executing that method. Let's display our form. There it is. Phew, okay, now, so finally, I'm ready to do an update. That was just getting the form loaded. Ready to do an update. I'm still debugging, so it's going to continue letting me walk through the code. We're going to set up our update. Current index is not -1, so we're going to disable all of our form fields. We're going to set our focus on the audio ID, and then we're going to update our message text, and then we should just display. All right, perfect. Finally, we're going to do an update and click OK. It's where we're crashing, right? Now, the first thing that we do in our update, we are right here. We have clicked our OK button. We're going to do that if statement. Our current index is not -1, so we're going to run our update CD method. In our update CD method, we're going to run the method that copies all the data from our form back to our CD, back and forth here, right? Had to show it to the user, let them change it. Now that they've changed it, to copy it back. The form is like a temporary holding place for those changes. Now we did that. Now we're ready to update that item in our list box. Is this where our selected index changed method is getting called? Let's see. First, we're doing our toString to return our string value of our audio CD. Finally, we're going to update. And we crash. So yes, this is where our problem is. And it says that -1 is not valid for the index. We're trying to update, and our current index is -1. We just changed it to -1 because nothing is selected. We actually just changed that value. So in our selected index changed method, we're going to have to make sure that our current index is not -1 because we don't want to do that process if it is. Okay, so I'm going to stop running. And I'm going to end my breakpoint, and I'm going to update this method. Now, in this method, I don't want to check our current index. I want to check our selected index, the one that's actually on the list box. Did this really change? Is that why you're being called here? If not, I don't really want to run anything here. Okay, so if the selected index on our list box, the actual one on the list box is -1, we don't want to do anything. But if it's not -1, then we want to update which one is being displayed. Let's see if that fixes our problem. Click one, change it. Oops, got it. Click update. Change it. Now our problem was occurring in the update when we clicked OK, and we were crashing. So we're going to try that again and see it. Hopefully it'll just update. See, there it is. It just updated just the way we want. We can update it again. And we can just keep updating. But we have to just keep going through that same process.
I'm sorry, can I screen share for a minute? Mine is not properly updating.
Sure. All right.
So the issue I'm having is that whenever I go to update something, it'll properly like let me edit the fields. I guess I forgot to add in to turn them back off, or I messed up somewhere, copying and pasting, but it'll let me edit the fields, but let me start over again so I can show you. So like this one, right? I'll go to update it. I'll say change it to jazz or something, right? It'll when I hit OK, it disables everything, says that it's been updated, but nothing's changed.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if I copied and pasted something wrong. So that'd be update CD.
Uh-huh. That looks good. Let's set a breakpoint in there, Madison, to make sure it's running it okay. It looks like it is.
So do you want me to set it?
Yeah, set it right on that line, and then we'll make sure that everything looks kosher. Go ahead and just run an update. And let's mouse over your current index and see. You might have to run that line of code. That's okay. Go ahead and keep going through your toString. Okay. Keep going. Okay, that one right there is our problem. No, keep going, but it shouldn't be running that. Keep going.
Yeah, you're right, because it's set to only do it if it's not equal. Well,
To
it's
negative.
not equal to -1 because it'd be the index of the CD I'm updating.
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
So now it's doing show CD. Oh wait, I need to add form to CD in here, don't I?
Yes.
So I forgot to update this when we did all the other stuff. So where does it belong in here?
So
Is
let's
this
go
the
up to
cop?
your update CD,
Okay.
and in your update CD, that should be right. There's your form to CD.
Oh, okay. I was thinking there might need to be a call in there, but I guess
And
because
then
it's already been called right
save.
here.
That all looks good.
Maybe my form to CD is not properly set up.
That all looks good. That first one, let's get rid of that first line of code. That should be in your add, but it should not be in your update. So let's move that to your add.
It looks like it's already
CD,
there.
got
I
it.
think it was
Okay,
just for me copying stuff.
that should work then. Let's see if that takes care of it. So what we've got is a couple of different occurrences of that instance.
Maybe it was like resetting it when I was doing that then. So,
Oh, that's our breakpoint.
oh, that's the breakpoint.
Good. So you can just.
Or hold on, let me just redo that without the breakpoint.
Turn it off if you want.
Okay, awesome.
Is that
That's what it
working?
was.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else trouble? Let's get you fixed. Stuart, it's yours being bad. We can try to fix it. Okay, I'm going to share this then. Find participants again. It keeps redoing everything. Got to fix that. All right. Oh, Stuart's works. Yay. Okay, so we are in such good shape. Let's look at our form. What are we missing? I really think the only thing we're missing is our delete, right? We could do some little fixing up of all sorts of little details here, but the big meaty thing that we're missing is our delete function. So let's copy our button. In our delete function, we're going to prompt the user. We're going to say, you know, are you sure? That type of thing. So let's copy this update button. And I think for our delete button, let's make our text be a hyphen, like a minus sign. So we have our plus, equals, and minus. That will be super meaningful. And let's make our button name button delete. For our delete button, let's add some code. This one is going to be a little separate. We're not going to have to use those other methods too often, that we've kind of gotten everything to work with. First of all, if our current index is not equal to -1, we can do this stuff. Otherwise, we got a problem. Because -1 means we didn't have one selected. We wouldn't know which one to delete. So we do have one selected here. So the first thing we want to do is a message box. And in our message box, so far when we've used a message box, we've just sent a message, just a string. But if you look at IntelliSense here, it says there's lots of other ways you can format a message box. So I'm going to click the down arrow here. Win32 window. Now I don't want to mess with that. I'm not sure. But for option 3, it says, oh, you can show a string of text and a string to be your caption. Let's try that one. Caption being the title. We'll say deleting audio CD. Are you sure? And then we want our caption to be audio CD. Let's run it. You want to just see that message box this way. So I've got to click on an item and then my delete. Deleting audio CD. Are you sure? Well, okay is fine, but we're not really giving them much of a chance to say no. It would be better if we had buttons yes and no. Do notice our beautiful caption up here that says audio CD. But I do want to change these buttons. So let's change our message box again. Stop running. And we were in there looking at IntelliSense. I'm going to type another comma to make the IntelliSense come up again. Now I'm at option 4. It says you could have this window. Still know what that is. Keep going. Buttons. That's what I want. I want buttons. So I want message box buttons. Now if I type a period, it will give me all of the predefined buttons. And I would like yes and no. Now let's run it and look at our buttons. Click one, delete, deleting audio CD. Are you sure? Oh, nice. Now we have yes, no. That's better. Now we need to do something in our code depending on which option they choose. Close out. And we saw that when we were working like with that font dialog, we could use the dialog result data type to get the result of whatever the user clicked in a Windows dialog box like that. Okay, so I can get their result, and then I can make sure that the result equals a dialog result of, what do we want? Yes. We can check for all these different possibilities. But of course, yes is at the bottom. That's the one we want. If they said yes, they want to delete it. Let's do some deleting. We've got our list box. And we have our items. And we would like to get rid of one. So let's scroll through our IntelliSense again. We're basically looking at our documentation for this command to see what kinds of methods and properties are available. And I could remove, or I could remove at. If I click on remove, mouse over it, it says removes the specified object from the collection. That would be like I could use this CD is an object, or I could just remove at a certain index location. Well, we've been using our index for all of the other transactions we've done, so let's use that one. Now that would like our index value as a parameter value, so we'll pass it in. Remove that one. After you remove it, we need to clear our form because we're still displaying the information from that audio CD that we just deleted, and then we need to disable all of our input fields so that they can't type anything. We just deleted that entry. And then let's update our message. Of course, we're just making a basic message, but we could display the audio ID or any sort of meaningful information in that message of what was deleted. Okay, so now we're asking them, are you sure? They say yes. We remove it from our list. We clear it from the detail area. We disable all of our detail fields, and then we just display that the audio CD was deleted. Let's see. I'm going to click on one, delete. Are you sure? Yes. Ah, it's gone. Audio CD deleted. No crashing. Oh my gosh. Try another one. This time I'm going to say no. Ah, did not delete it. Try this very first one. Sometimes the first one can break. Delete it. Looks good. How's everybody's? Good, good, good. Yay, yay, yay. Now, I think we're in pretty good shape. I will load this one again to Discord. When you look at it, don't just open this one and say, oh, this one's mine now. No, I want you to go through it, compare it to yours, and if yours is having a problem or not working, try to figure out why, what's going on with it, so that you can get some really meaningful information out of this. If you just copy and paste, it's not really going to do you very much good. And the whole reason we're doing this is so that you know how. So take a look at it. There's a few methods here that need some comments. We've done pretty good, though, at keeping them all commented up. Love it. So let me know if you have any trouble. On Quizlet, they just sent me an email just in time so you guys would have something fun to do. We can actually do Quizlet Live individually so you guys can take on everybody else. You don't have to have a team. Now, with this one, you can always go to Quizlet and you can search for Mrs. Riley 358 and find all my Quizlet decks. I try really hard to make sure that that search is in all of them. I created a new deck for the Unit 3 exam. It is Chapter 7, 9, and 10 from the Doyle PDF. What is that? Somebody actually asked in the last class. No. I've got a grade book open. Here it is. So if you look at any of our overviews, here's the Lesson 13 overview. The Doyle PDF is linked in. Download that. That is what we're having to use for our forms chapters. So chapter 7 is error handling, try catch stuff. Chapter 9 and 10 are the forms information. So all of our question bank information comes from that PDF. So if you want to, you can use Quizlet because it's got all the same keywords. So anytime you can use it to study. Let's do a Quizlet Live though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say we're going to play individuals and we're going to set up the questions so that the keyword is the question and then you're given a bunch of different answer choices. I think that makes more sense than the other way. We'll try it. Okay, let's try it. I'm worried this morning it was playing unbelievably loud music. And it's not now. Okay. It's letting somebody in though. Yay, try it. We've got some people. Let's do it, let's do it. Can everybody see the link okay? For the survey form project, let's wait until after we're done with our Quizlet Live because we probably will have some other questions too. Good question. Let's get in there. Let's do this. Try Quizlet Live. Didn't take very long. Just want you to remember that all these keywords are out here. Some of the keywords that are in Quizlet are things that we haven't talked about. They are just things that they mention, terms that they mention in that PDF document. There is just hardly any way for us to get all of that stuff mentioned in class. Come on, need more people, need more people. Don't take off yet because we're going to answer questions after we're done. Are all these people away from their keyboard? I'm just going to quit having Zoom sessions if they are. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep torching you. Who are we missing? All sorts of people. I do it. I like it. Okay, tell me if it's being slow because I'm only asking you guys to do 47 things at once. Cardboard cutouts. But yes, anytime you guys just yell if you're on one poor monitor on a slow Wi-Fi and I'm asking you to do 17 things at once. They've got that slow down thing on Zoom. I might not see it, but we can try. Oh, there we go. People are getting in. Yay! We're going to sell the little house we bought when we first moved to Springfield, and our closing is set for May 30th. I guess our buyer has a good job, huh? So far, so good. But anyways, the realtor asked me what time I could be there, and I said, well, can't I do it remotely? Geez, I can't go in this room and sit with 12 people for 2 hours signing papers. And she said, oh, I don't think so. And then she messaged back and she said, can you do Zoom? You bet I can. All righty, we're getting some people. I'm going to start it. Should I start it? How are we doing? We have 12. We have a few more people in our Zoom session. We'll let them just watch. All righty, we're going to try it. We're going to start it. Now it's making noise. Okay, good luck. It's making a bunch of noise. People dying. What's it doing to ya? Rhinos. I don't know who our rhino is, but they're just really kicking ahead. Notice you guys are all plural. You might feel like there's only one of you, but there's several. Rhinos is taking the lead like crazy. Oh, Sharks was up there. Sharks just spit it. Rhino went on past that one question that's getting everybody. Something is getting everybody. Ah. I don't even know who our rhino is. We'll have to wait till it's over to see. Oh, Panda's catching up. I think that rhino is sitting there letting you guys catch up. Oh, so good. Very nice, very nice. Great job. I'm going to close that. Thank you guys for trying it. I appreciate it. And I just wanted you to remember that all of those terms are out there. There's so many different things you can do with Quizlet. It's so handy. And if you're stuck someplace, you know, waiting for somebody, you know, like you had to drive somebody to the grocery store and you're waiting outside, because that happens now, you can get on a Quizlet app. Remember, all sorts of flashcard apps that will connect to Quizlet, not just Quizlet. So if you have another one that you love, you can use it. Okay, so some questions. Was it kind of fun? We'll try to do some more when we have a little more time. I wanted to make sure to get to all of our questions. Let's see where they were. The survey form project. Are you still required to work in groups since we won't present it? I would prefer that you check with your group, just like all of our others. I will be checking for yours in TFS. So decide how you want to handle that, but do check with your group. You do not have to turn in the same project by any means. Does that answer that question vaguely enough? Okay, let's see. What about the audio form? Please. Oh, there you are. Here's where I am. Right here, I have a quick question over the audio form. What do you got? So whenever I delete an item and create another. Oh, well, that sounds like a big bug. Let's try it and see if we've all got it. Look at all that testing. Let's try it. So I'm going to go in and you say, I delete one. All right. And then I want to add another one. Yep, look, no data. Oh, it's crazy. It's going nuts out. Yay, we have some bugs. I was thinking, gosh, we're just putting this thing together awfully well and it's not getting any bugs for us or anything. So let's see. It doesn't like our add at all. So I'm going to click stop. And I have an idea. No, it's not just you. The form to CD must break after a delete. We got a problem. Let's see what our problem could be. One thing that I'd like to try, whenever we do an add CD, do we really want to use a new instance of this audio CD? Or do we want to use our global variable audio CD? We want to use our global one, right? So why are we specifying the data type here? Whenever we do that, we're creating a new instance of the CD. It's a new instance that's going to be local to our add function. Maybe we broke our add function just by creating our form to CD method in the very first place. So what I think we should do is get rid of this audio CD keyword so that the CD is the same instance of a CD we use every place else in our application. Does that make sense? Let's see if that fixes our problem. Because it was like, we should have this problem. Okay, so album 7, I'm going to delete it. And then I'm going to add a new one. Like I said, we might have this problem just on a regular add. We should have retested our add when we made those changes, huh? All right, but now I'm going to test it. I've got an album I'm going to add. Much better. So I want you to actually try that. As you're merging code, you're making sure your application works properly. Why in the world does that make so much difference? Whenever we have the line of code like this, new instance of new local variable. I'm going to comment that out. When we have it where we don't specify the class name, the data type, this is a new instance of our class level global variable. So very big difference, very small change. Do you see how bad that is? So it was really getting to me because I'm like, but we should have some problems because we just have this local version of this variable. I want you to have that problem. I want you to see how that small thing can cause so much trouble because I'm using the same name, .cd, but if I specify the data type, the class name again, it's just a new local variable. Does that fix everybody's? You all fixed that? Thank you very much for finding that because I was like, how is it all working? We were just adding and adding like crazy. So big deal that I wanted you to experience and explore that we can really get into trouble there. So from the very beginning, we created that audio CD instance as our class level variable that we want to use everywhere. We don't want to have any other instances to speak of. More questions? Our code breaker, he's not like a code talker, he's a code breaker. I think that's even more important, right? We'll keep looking. You keep seeing if you can find problems, because if you find any more issues, we can sure take a look at them. Like I said, there's lots of small things we could change. We could fix our messages to be, you know, like I say, more data included, to clarify some other things. But next week, again, we'll come back to this and add a menu. So as you can see, our menu probably is going to do a lot of the same things we just created buttons for. So we'll already have the code in place. So we'll be able to do some more code reuse and make this application even stronger without a lot of additions of code. Everybody else all good? All good? All good? Ran out of time. Good job. Let me know if you need anything. I will see you Monday. Remember, Wednesday, take your unit exam. Don't come to a Zoom session, but do come to a Zoom session next Monday, and do let me know if you need anything, okay? Have a great day.